Welcome dear students. I am Dr. Rajiv Oberoi. So now we begin with the calculation of radius of an orbit. So in the previous video I have dealt with the Bohr's model, the postulate of Bohr's model. Now in continuation of this model, we are now dealing with the calculation of radius of an orbit. What has been said in this atomic model? This Bohr's model says that in an atom, all positive charged particle, that is proton, unite or condense to form nucleus at the center of the atom around which electron revolve. The space in which electron revolve are termed as orbits. What are orbits? These are circular path and they are in fact the energy levels. Now since atomic orbital are circular path, therefore every orbit will have a particular radius. Say radius of first orbit is r1, that of second orbit is r2, that of third orbit is r3 and so on. Since atomic orbits are circular path, therefore it will have a particular radius. Now we are trying to calculate the radius of an orbit based on the Bohr's model. Now according to Bohr's model, the electron which is revolving in a circular path around the nucleus, it experiences two forces, one working inward and other working outward. The electron which is revolving in an orbit experience two forces, one working inward, other working outward. The force working inward is termed as Coulombic attraction force and it depends upon the charges on the particle. The force which is working inward is termed as Coulombic attraction force and it depends upon the charges on the particles. Now this force working inward is equal to, so it is equal to Ze square upon R square. Ze square upon R square, where Z is atomic number, E are the charges on the particle and R is the radius of the orbit. Further, the force which is working outward, the force which is working outward is termed as centrifugal force and it depends upon the motion of the particle. The force working outward is termed as centrifugal force and it depends upon the motion or the movement of the particle. So there is force working inward, there is a force working outward. The force working outward is equal to mv square upon r. Mv square upon r, m is mass of the particle, v is velocity of the particle and r is again radius of the orbit. Now according to Rutherford, these two forces, the one working inward and other working outward, they are equal and opposite, therefore they counterbalance one another. There are two forces working on electron, one working inward, other working outward. I said these two forces, they are equal and opposite, therefore they counterbalance one another and this is why electron maintain its position around the nucleus. The two forces are equal and opposite, therefore they counterbalance one another. Hence we can say that Ze square upon R square, the force working inward, is equal to mv square upon r, the force working outward. The force working inward Ze square upon r square is equal to force working outward, that is mv square upon r. Now if I cross multiply, it is Ze square into r is equal to mv square into r square. Ze square into r is equal to mv square into r, so I can write Ze square into r is equal to mv square into r square, that is r into r, and one of this r get cancelled, so it becomes Ze square upon mv square is equal to r. Ze square upon mv square is equal to r ze square upon mv square. Now remember, very important, though this equation appears to be equal to r, that is radius, but remember this equation 4 can't be utilized to calculate the radius of an orbit because electron is a very minute particle and its velocity with certainty cannot be calculated. Remember, this equation 4 can't be used to calculate the radius of an orbit. The reason is it involves velocity of electron which cannot be calculated with certainty. Hence, we can't use this equation to calculate the radius of an orbit. Then what? So, along with the postulate of Bohr's atomic model, we have already discussed that according to Bohr's model, the angular momentum of electron revolving in a circular path, that is orbit, is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi, that is mvr, that is angular momentum, is equal to n into h upon 2 pi, where m is mass of the particle, v is velocity of the particle, r is radius of the orbit, n is number of orbit, h is Planck's constant. Now if I square this equation, if this above equation is squared, it becomes m square into v square into r square is equal to n square into h square upon 2 square is 4 pi square. So what I've done, I've simply squared this complete equation, which makes no difference. Both the side is being completely squared. It becomes this equation. Now if I bring m, one of the m in the denominator and both the r, it becomes mv square. I'm bringing one m and both the r, it becomes mv square is equal to n square into h square upon 4 pi square into m into r square. mv square is equal to n square into h square upon 4 pi square into m into r square. This is value of mv square. Value of mv square. Now if I keep this value of mv square in equation number 4, keeping value of mv square in equation number 4, it becomes, so what was the equation 4 is? So equation 4 is r is equal to ze square upon mv square. R is equal to ze square upon mv square. And what is value of mv square? The value of mv square we have calculated, it is n square into h square upon 4 pi square into m into r square. So this is value of mv square. So we have replaced mv square by this value. Now if I reshuffle it, so this goes in the denominator, this 4 pi square into m into r square goes into numerator, it goes into numerator and it becomes, so it becomes, if I cross multiply, shift this and cross multiply, this is shifted to numerator and this is cross multiplied, it becomes r into, it is cross multiplied. So r into n square into h square is equal to ze square, this goes into the numerator, 4 pi square into m into r, again one of the r is being cancelled. So this is r into n square into h square is equal to ze square into 4 pi square into m into r, one of this r is cancelled on either side, it becomes n square into h square, into h square upon, this is now brought into denominator, upon ze square into 4 pi square into m, which is equal to r. This is equal to r. So radius of an orbit. So according to Bohr's model, the radius of an orbit r is equal to, so r is equal to n square into h square upon ze square into 4 pi square into m, where n is number of orbit, h is Planck's constant, z is the atomic number of the atom, e is charge on the particle, and m is mass of the particle. So in this equation, all the factors are known. We know the value of n specifically, value of h is known specifically, z is a fixed value, e is a fixed value, m is a fixed value. Hence, using this equation, we can calculate the radius r. Now further, now in this equation, n is variable. For first orbit, value of n is 1. For second orbit, value of n is 2. For third orbit, value of n is 3. So n is a variable except n. All other are constant values. So h is a constant, z is a constant, e is constant, 4 constant, pi constant, m constant. So if we keep value of all these and solve it, it becomes this h square upon z into e square into 4 into pi square into m. If I solve it, this value comes to be, so radius of any nth orbit would be, the radius of any nth orbit Rn, this n stands for any orbit, first, second, third, fourth, etc. So Rn is equal to n square, and this value is 0.53 into 10 raised to minus 10 meters. This radius of an orbit r is equal to n square into this value comes to be 0.53 into 10 raised to minus 10 meters. We are aware that since 10 raised to minus 10 meter is equal to 1 Armstrong, so we can say radius of any nth orbit is n square into 0.53 Armstrong. Radius of any nth orbit is equal to n square into 0.53 Armstrong. Now we can put the value of n to get the radius of first orbit. So radius of first orbit r1 would be 1 square, value of n is 1. So 1 square into 0.53 Armstrong comes to be 0.53 Armstrong. Radius of second orbit r2 is 2 raised to power 2. Value of n is 2 for second orbit and value of n is 2. So 2 raised to power 2 into 0.53 Armstrong comes to be 2.12 Armstrong, and so on. So this way we can calculate radius of an orbit. So the formula to calculate radius of an orbit is n square into h square upon ze square into 4 pi square into m. This value is a constant. Therefore we can say that radius of an orbit is n square into 0.53 into 10 raised to minus 10 meters, or n square into 0.53 Armstrong, and this way we can calculate the radius of first orbit, radius of second orbit, radius of third orbit, and so on. Depending, just based on the value, we can say that radius of first orbit is least, that of second orbit is bigger, and so on. That is, as we move away from the nucleus, the size of the orbit, it increases. So as per Bohr's model, it has been said that in an atom there is a nucleus at the center around which electrons revolve in the circular path. Since orbits are circular path, therefore it will have fixed radius. Hence in this portion we have calculated the radius.